Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We're getting ready to go up and fly just for a little bit. I dropped our son off at his new job. Today was his first day, and so while he's got a 5-hour shift, I figured I'd come to the airport, go fly for a little bit before I have to go back and pick him up. So come along for the ride. Alright, mixture all the way in, propellers all the way in, fuel selector on the right tank, master switch on, fuel pump coming on, mags to both, prime, give it 4 shots since it's cold, 2, 3, 4, in and locked, throttle, twice, clear! Check. You guys got me loud and clear? Alright, let's keep going through our checklist. Avionics on, intercom set, fuel pumps off, nav taxi lights are on, radios are set. Autopilot will check. The autopilot's good. Transponder booted up good. We'll get the weather here in a minute. Radios and nav aids, everything is set up like we had it yesterday. Flaps are down, heading indicator. Three, 4-ish, 3, 5-ish. Okay. Altitude indicator, oh, that looks good. Okay. Parking brakes are released. Taxi check. We are clear over here, clear over there. Okay, brake check. We're just going to taxi over here, find a spot to do our run-up. Gotta wait for the oil temperature to come up. Alright, we've got our oil temperature is in the green. Let's go ahead and do our engine run-up. So we are turned into the wind, our nose wheel is straight, brakes set and held, propeller is all the way in. Fuel pump is on, throttle's going all the way full. Okay, and then we're going to lean the mixture for best power. See the RPM's rising a little bit. Starts to get rough there. Bring throttle back to 2000. Okay, we'll do our magneto check. We're going to go from both over to the right side. 100 drop, back to both. Good recovery. The left side, about 100 drop, back to both. Good recovery. Both within 50 RPM. Propeller, we're going to cycle 3 times. Decrease in RPM. Decrease in oil pressure. Decrease in manifold pressure. I don't see any liquid on the screen. Check our carburetor heat. Good drop. Running smooth. Good recovery. Meter. Bit of a positive load. Vacuum. We're at 5 plus or minus 0.1. Throttle, we're going to go back to idle. Okay, engine running. Bring it back to 1000. Oil temperature is in the green, oil pressure is in the green, fuel pressure is there. Turn fuel pump off, pressure remains. We've got sufficient fuel for the flight. Good run up. Right before taxi check, fuel, we're on the right side. Fuel pump, we'll turn it on when we get to the runway. Rudder and stabilator are set for takeoff. Flaps, no notches. Flight controls, that goes up, that goes down, that goes up, goes down, and we go up and down and back. A flight instrument, 0 on the airspeed. Up there, blue over brown. field elevation, here on the vertical speed, and we'll check our turn coordinator as we're going out. Engine gauges, everything's in the green, fuel sufficient for flight. Radios and nav aids are set up. We've got practice area in the standby. For Fort Morgan, go ahead and put in weather. 132.95. There we go. So we got that ready. Okay. Back to our checklist. Radios and nav aids are set up. Transponder, squawking VFR, seat backs, belts, buckles, good. Doors locked and latched. Good to go there. Takeoff briefing, we're using runway 34. Any engine problems that we have while we're on the ground, we'll pull the throttle, apply the brakes, we'll get off of the runway. We get off of the runway, we're below 1,000 feet, pitch the nose forward. There's some fields out in front of us that we can land on. If we get above 1,000 feet, we'll entertain turning back around, landing on runway 16. Okay, doors closed. Fuel pump is going to come on when we take the runway. Landing lights will come on when we get to the runway. Mixture is for best power. Primer is in and locked, and the propeller is high. We are ready for a normal takeoff. Erie traffic, Cherokee 7055 Romeo's at parking, taxiing runway 34. We're going to join Alpha at Alpha 2, Erie traffic. Erie traffic, white Cherokees taking runway 34 for a straight out departure, Erie traffic. Hey, don't hear anybody, don't see anybody. Let's roll. Landing lights on, fuel pumps coming on.
Branding traffic, Epic 1 Victor Whiskey is 10 miles to the east.
Hey, full power. Everything's in the green. Good fuel flow. Airspeed's alive, there's 60. 70. Trim for 85. Erie traffic, Cherokee 7055 Romeo's 2 miles off the departure end of 34, departing to the east. Last call, Erie traffic. All right, now that we're all leveled off here and cruising, what I thought I would do was kind of reenact my first student solo cross country. And while I'm not taking off from Rocky Mountain Metro, I took off from Erie Air Park, and I'm heading east towards Fort Morgan, and we'll do a landing there, get out, stretch our legs a little bit, and then fly back to Erie. What I thought I'd also do is, while you guys are along for the ride, is I thought I'd tell you about my piloting story and how I got to where I am right here. So as a kid, I've always been fascinated by planes, and when I was younger, we never had the opportunity to go and fly when we were on vacations and stuff. We had a camper that we would drive from Florida up the east coast of the United States up to Maryland and visit family in the summertime, and we often chose to travel by road to get there. And so I never really got the opportunity to do commercial flying as a kid, but I was always fascinated by planes, and kind of always had an eye to the sky when I'd see something flying over. Skip forward to when I was in high school. There was a golf course near a municipal airport in Venice, Florida, where I grew up, and there was a golf course
at the end of one of the runways, and my friend and I would just, stare at the planes that were taking on and off, doing touch and goes and coming in and practicing their landings and whatnot. And we would always try to tee up like our pitching wedges and try to get them high enough to be up towards the planes. Again, I was always looking at the planes, that were coming in and out, and kind of the time came after high school where I needed to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And to be honest, I didn't really, I wasn't the greatest student in high school. I did, just enough to get by. I loved playing sports and kind of focused a little bit more on that, and wish I would have focused more on the schoolwork, but it is what it is. And so I was at the point where I was graduating high school and didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I certainly knew that I couldn't afford college on my own, and so that seemed out of touch. We do have a family tradition of serving our military. My grandfather was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. My father was a captain in the Army. My brother was a combat medic, enlisted in the Army, did 4 years, and they all said that I did the right thing by joining the Air Force. It meets my demeanor. It meets my, it was the right choice for me. And so I went into the Air Force, ended up getting a med tech job, and I was a medical service journeyman. Ended up separating. I did 4 years of active duty, so I was an E4, and then I did 6 years in the reserves while I was going to college. And so while I was on active duty, I met some really good people, and at one point I thought that I was going to become a physician assistant. And to do that, it was a master's program, so I needed to get my bachelor's degree. I started taking courses at the local community college, and by the time I got off of active duty, I had my associate's degree. And one of my mentors suggested that I look at getting a job within the medical field to grow my hours and experience before I went into thinking about going to PA school. And so I decided to get into radiology, and I got accepted to the bachelor's program at the University of Central Florida. Go Knights. So I graduated from there in 2004 and started working as a radiologic technologist at a level 1 trauma center in Orlando, Florida, which is where I met my wife. We started dating back then. After about 1.5 years or so of doing diagnostic x-rays and running fluoroscopes in the operating room, which I thought was really cool, I transitioned over to a different modality and started doing computed tomography, so CT. And I really liked the fast-paced nature of that. And from there, my wife, or my girlfriend at the time, came to me with an option. She wanted to start traveling and see some of the country. And so one of the offers or options that we had was to travel as radiologic technologists. And we got an assignment out in South Lake Tahoe for about 6 months or so. And we left Florida, went out to South Lake Tahoe, really enjoyed that, got into the outdoors even more. And then just kind of one day I had a buddy from college call me, and he got a job working with a medical device company. And because of our radiology background, this company brought a new technology, well, I should say a new radiology technology to the market, and basically created this mobile device that they needed x-ray techs to be able to train the surgeons and the staff at the hospital on how to safely use this technology. And so that was my introduction into medical devices. And I did that for about 5 years. Was traveling and installing these pieces of equipment all over the world, which was an awesome, opportunity. Really got the travel bug inside of me. And then it came to a certain point where my son was, at the time we were talking about having a kid, and I didn't want to be traveling as much as I was. And an opportunity came up in the service department, and I transferred over and became a field service engineer on this technology, and basically traveled a certain region and did break fix on that technology and planned maintenance. And then a couple years went by, and there was a management position that opened up, and I became a people leader. And I've been doing that for about the last 11 years now with this medical device company. And so to kind of, so how does that get me to being a pilot, you might ask? Well, here we go, long story short. So my wife, 1 year for Christmas, she knew how much I, liked the idea of flying and becoming a pilot.
1028 traffic.
And she also thought it was quite hilarious that while I was in the Air Force, I never stepped foot on one military plane. The only plane that I stepped foot on was a commercial flight from Tampa to San Antonio for basic training. And so for 1 year for Christmas, she got me ground school lessons, and I'm forever thankful for her for that. And it has just ignited a fire inside of me. And here we are, able to fly ourselves and enjoy this Cherokee 140 that we have. So when I was in ground school, started flying Cessnas, which I think a lot of people do. There were 2 lower wing airplanes in our flight school, and so I got into flying one of those, and I really enjoyed just the look of it, the what you could see above you in the pattern, not being obstructed by a wing. Having the wing up here to me just kind of made me a little more claustrophobic that I didn't like. And so I got into the Cherokees, and then not when I was flying them, but they had some engine troubles, and both the Archer and the Cherokee had to go in for engine replacements. And so everybody in the flight school was jumping on the Cessnas, and it was just really hard with my work schedule to get in and get some consistent training. And I think as pilots, we all kind of look at, like Trade a Plane and all those other forums and see what the possibilities are that are out there. And we came across 7055 Romeo, and it was just a deal that, we had to go for. And we bought it. I flew my CFI out to Atlanta, Georgia with me, and we picked it up from Jerry. Shout out to you. You did a great job of taking care of this bird. If you guys looked at our last video about what it costs to operate this plane for a year, Jerry took a really good job of this plane, and we're just trying to follow in his footsteps. So thank you very much for that, Jerry. But my flight instructor and I flew it back here, and then just the flight training just kind of was easy after that. I had something consistent that I could fly in. I got about 40 hours in this before I took my private pilot's license, which is a total story in and of itself, and I'll have to do another video on that. But yeah, so I felt comfortable in the plane. I knew about the plane. I've been flying it a lot, and it just made me feel like super comfortable having it and knowing that I knew a lot about this plane when I was going to go to put my friends and family in it. So that gave me, a sense of security to know that was possible. So yeah, so that's kind of how I got here. It was my wife's doing, so I blame it on her. But I also thank her very much, and we get to go out and have these little adventures, and kind of go from there. So we're getting ready. We're close. We're about 20 miles out from Fort Morgan. I'm going to switch over to their traffic frequency and get an idea of what's going on there. And we're also going to try to pick up the weather.
906 is turning left base.
Fort Morgan Municipal Airport.
Automated weather observation 2-0-3-4 Zulu. Wind calm. Visibility more than 10. Sky condition clear below 12,000. Temperature 3 Celsius. Dew point -4 Celsius. Altimeter 3001 inches of mercury.
Fort Morgan traffic, Cherokee 55 Romeo is about 4 miles to the west, setting up for a left downwind, runway 32, full stop, Fort Morgan.
Are you coming in for fuel?
Negative, just coming in to stop, stretch the legs for a minute.
2 Foxtrot Delta, we're now 7 southwest. We're coming in for fuel. We'll watch for that Cherokee, and we'd like to use 1-4.
2 Foxtrot Delta, we're 32 Sierra. We're further out. We'll set up for 1-4 if you're going to take 1-4.
Yeah, copy that. Thank you. 2 Foxtrot Delta.
And Fort Morgan traffic, Cherokee 55 Romeo is going to overfly midfield, and we'll set up for a left downwind for runway 14, full stop, Fort Morgan traffic. Fort Morgan, White Cherokees entering the left downwind for runway 14, full stop, Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan, White Cherokees turning left base, runway 14, full stop, Fort Morgan. Fort Morgan, White Cherokees turning final, 14, full stop, Fort Morgan. All right, we're going to come over here and park. Thank you guys for riding along with us. I'm not sure if the batteries are going to make it all the way back. So thanks for coming along. We'll see you guys on the next one.